Hi, this is Alicja and this is a tutorial on how to draw a nose. So get a pen in your hand and let's get started. Let's draw a circle, and beneath of that circle draw a triangle which is going to end somewhere beneath the middle of that circle. Those two shapes together are going to look the same on almost any kind of nose. Now we're going to draw the nostrils. Draw them on the sides, and you can do the same thing like me, which is starting exactly at the place where the triangle and the middle circle connect. They can be bigger and smaller depending on what kind of nose you're drawing. I am finishing the circles, but you don't have to, because the middle part is not going to be any use later, so just make sure to draw the outside part of it. Now we go to drawing the bridge of the nose. It's a very thin triangle. And then we define the rest of the bridge of the nose, which can be very different, but this is how I did it. Also, for extra guidelines, I am creating this kind of triangle looking shape connecting the side nostrils, circles, and the middle of the bridge. And because nose goes all the way to the eyebrows, I also create a triangle at the very top of the nose bridge. For all the sketching, I use my sketchy brush set. You can get it on my website, alicyaprints.com. Now I take the airbrush eraser and I make all the middle parts softer, so it's easier to make the next guideline. And now I'm going to draw the nostrils, obviously on the top of the nostril circle, and it's in the shape of like a teardrop. They can be very different, some are more visible, some are less visible, so keep that in mind when you're drawing your nose. I color them in and I make a little bit more of harsh lines in places like the bottom of the tip of the nose and the sides of the nostrils. I'm going to also erase a little bit more, so it's easier for me to make further guidelines. You don't have to draw those guidelines every time, but if you're doing it for the first time, I recommend to try so you can understand the shapes, the shading of the nose better. And the first one is blue, and those are going to be the darkest parts of the nose. And those I'm drawing right now are very important, so keep that in mind. It makes the nose look very realistic. Also, remember to make all of those guidelines on separate layers because you might need them later. But remember, those guidelines are not set in stone. A nose is a very difficult, very complicated set of shades, of shading, of shapes. And depending on the lighting, it's going to change a lot. So the ones I just drew under the nostrils, they do change a lot. And now, of course, little triangles on top of the nostrils, on the sides of the nostrils. Now we can proceed to red, which is going to be just dark. Not very dark, just dark. And I'm going to draw guidelines that will go over the blue lines. That means that it's just going to be dark when the very dark color is not there. So I draw the sides of the bridge of the nose because they are going to be very blended. So we don't need a very dark color for this. As I see, I am changing the red outlines a little bit because I feel like this shows the shape of the shading on the nose a little bit better. So now it's leaving the bridge of the nose and the bottom of the nose on the natural side of the color. And now we're drawing guidelines for yellow, which is light color. And I draw a little bit of that under the nostrils, like I said, and on the top of the nose and of the bridge of the nose. This is what it all looks like. Now we can proceed to coloring everything in, which is actually very satisfying. So I am taking the Fast Shading Layering 2 from my cartoonish makeup brush set. Again, all my brushes are available on my website alicyaprints.com. So now let's start coloring. I take the dark color and color everything inside of the blue guidelines. And that's it actually, that's pretty easy for now. Also, for this, I really do recommend you to make every of those shading areas on different layers. Because right now you don't need that many layers, but later you can compare everything when you remove the guidelines and change the tones maybe a little bit. See what works, see what you want to achieve, and then you can merge everything. Now let's take just a slightly lighter color than the very dark color, and let's color all the red areas. And it's easier when you take a layer of the dark color and put it underneath the very dark color, because you don't have to watch out to not draw over the very dark color, which is just... So now coloring everything in, and the next is obviously going to be very light or just light color, which I'm going to draw inside of the yellow/orange guideline. Now I removed all of the guidelines, I left only the black ones. I take an airbrush and I draw over on the nose bridge to just not make it too muddy, because the bridge of the nose, it's not that dark. Also drawing on the top of the nose, so it's a little bit more round. Now I make the opacity lighter on the sketch, on the guidelines, and I draw the nostrils holes. I do it with an airbrush because they are pretty blended overall, so we don't need any sharp edges when drawing nostrils. And remember, the nostrils are not going to be just 100% black. You'll need to add some warm color inside of it, like going from very dark to some kind of warm color, because of the skin, the blood, and just the way it's naturally tinted. So I just took a warm brown and I put it inside the nostril and a little bit outside of it. And the next step is going to be blending everything out. You guys can use a smudge tool or just your blending brushes. I personally don't like the smudge tool, but I do use just blending brushes for this, which is my only blend brush set. So I take the basic blend brush and I blend the top of the nose in circular motions. Remember, when blending, the movement, the directions are very important. So don't forget about it and try everything out. When some blending is not working out for you, remember, maybe it's the notion, it's the movement that's making it not look good. Analyze the object that you're drawing and see what kind of movement can you make to mimic the shape, the shading that you want to create. Just like on the nostrils, you have to go around from the bottom, the start of the nostril, to the top and around again to the bottom. This is the best way to blend it out. So also just don't forget to just go back and try it again, go back and try it again, because noses are very complex. They can be so hard if you really want to draw every little detail and if you want to draw them realistically / semi-realistically. So give yourself time, it's not going to be easy right away. One very important thing that I noticed is you guys need to blend out the bottom of the nose. And when it comes to the nose bridge, take a bigger blending brush and blend it out a lot in the notions that I show you on this example. So don't take example from what you see me doing, because I have a pretty small blending brush, but just make it bigger. It will be easier for you and it will probably be less muddy. Now I'm just going to take a brush with hard edges and I'm going to make it a little bit more sharp. I'm going to make a little bit more of a sharper shadows, because the best drawings, in my opinion, are the ones that have a combination of soft shadows and hard shadows. So just use the guidelines, you can turn it on and off to see where the strongest shadows should go, and just work with it. Try it a few times and I'm sure you're going to do it perfectly. Or maybe not perfectly, but I believe you can do it pretty well. So I cross my fingers. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you liked it and I hope it was a helpful tutorial. If you want to thank me, then you can give this video a thumbs up and leave a comment below for the algorithm. I really appreciate it. So yeah, if you want to get my brushes, go to aliciaprints.com. If you want to support me on Patreon, I have it also in the description of this video, and I will see you in the next video. Love ya, bye!